Being a cynic is easy. What's hard is faith. We are back with another daily reflection on the Daily Vedantic. And today's reflection is on one of the easiest things that any of us can do. Might not be beneficial, but it is quite easy. And that is to be a cynic. Cynicism, to critique needlessly with a sense of wanting to inflict pain, wanting to destroy, in oftentimes sadistic way where you get pleasure from that critique. Cynicism, the reason it's so commonplace is that it is so easy. When it comes to people's pursuits, when it comes to people's expression, maybe artistic expression, when it comes to philosophy, it's so easy to be a cynic. That's why it's almost the natural, most commonplace stance for most people to be cynical. And it's worth outlining why. And that is because, similar to an episode we did recently, when it comes to a philosophical approach to a worldview, to dissecting a worldview life, the reason it's so easy to be cynical is because language is limited. It is just the pointer. Like the example we used a few days ago, it's like the finger pointing at the truth whenever we're using words or philosophy to point at the truth. It, especially in Vedanta where it's explicit, it will explicitly say this is not the truth. The truth is an experience. It's not in books. It's not in wisdom. It's not in a podcast. Truth is not words. So you can point at the words all day long and be absolutely right to critique them. Language is so limited that whatever articulation of the truth, whatever articulation anyone could come up with, it will still be wrong in many ways. I could try to articulate the ocean right outside. I could try to articulate it for a lifetime. No, for 1,000 years. With 100% intention for 1,000 straight years. With every waking moment to articulate everything I'm seeing, and it would still have gaps. And that doesn't even have any philosophical significance to it. So the cynic, it's like hitting softballs all day long to find points and where there are gaps or limitations or where something isn't perfectly articulated. Being a cynic is easy. What's hard is faith. Faith is filling in those gaps. It's not blind faith. Blind faith will destroy a life quicker than anything else. It's what we put blind faith into, an idea like money will solve all my problems. If I can just get married, if we could just have one child, just one child, if I could just find someone to date, to hire me, to be my close friend, to be my mentor. That's blind faith. If I could just have that one thing, because the reason that's blind faith is there aren't any philosophies that have lasted over a couple hundred years. Multiple generations of thinkers, sages, saints that have said that those things will provide lasting happiness. There aren't any timeless philosophies. So that is you disregarding timeless philosophies, conceptual principles that have lasted longer than anything else humans have designed, built, come up with, and disregarding those and coming up with your own. that, people say money it doesn't provide sustainable peace, bliss, but I think it does. So you should not, none of us should, pursue anything with blind faith. But faith driven by corroboratory evidence, that's like going to your favorite restaurant and just knowing when you order, it's not going to be poison. You order for the 12th time, your favorite pasta dish from your favorite restaurant. That's not blind faith. The faith that they're going to deliver you an amazing meal, it's based on corroboratory evidence. But when it comes to philosophical faith, walking through that door is a lot harder than walking through the door of some hip restaurant. It's corroboratory evidence, 2 months in, 3 months in, all the same. Does it work for you? Is it helpful? And maybe it's just helpful for a time. Maybe it's helpful for 7 months, 3 years of your life, and then it was helpful for that, and you move on to something else. But it's much harder to walk through that door of philosophical faith than it is hip restaurant faith, because you'll have 10 friends tell you that a restaurant's awesome. The world will tell you that a meal at this cool hip place is great. But very few parts of the world around us will tell us that a philosophical pursuit is worthwhile, that it's worth walking in that door, checking out that book, that podcast, that conversation, that lecture. Very few, because the world is just, it's overrun with extremely loud messages that happiness isn't in some 5,000-year-old framework. It's in this new car, this new watch, in that promotion. The average American is subjected to 2,800 advertisements a day. So being a cynic is not just easy, given what I've already said. It's also really easy because 2,800 times a day, we're all told, well, it's not in some philosophy. It's in something that you can hold, that you can buy, right? That's what you really want. Something that you can taste. That's where happiness lies. And no matter what someone's mental fortitude is, 2,800 messages a day, that it's out there. It's in that thing, that food, that experience, that vacation, 2,800 times a day of hearing that. It will wear you down. So maybe it's never been easier to be a cynic. But what I'll say about a philosophical approach to life, what is so beautiful about a philosophical approach to life, to darken that door in a pursuit that might seem solitary because none of your friends are doing it. What's nice about pursuing that interest is that within 2 months, you start to see it work. Maybe even a week, maybe a day. Maybe it's something from an episode you listened to, you see work 5 hours later. Check out Vedanta Treatise, the beginning to end compendium of the philosophy of Vedanta in the show notes. And it just resonates with you to where you took a flyer, a little bit of faith, and then the faith gets replaced by knowing. The cynic is always suspended in a place of trying to find the next thing to find faith in, the next thing to find faith in, and never discovering the power of knowing. But with a philosophical approach like this, the faith, just like that restaurant that you know is going to deliver that great meal. When the philosophy is true, what is so mind-blowing is that it goes from faith to a couple months in to knowing. You're filling in the gaps, but you also are you're coming back to it again and again and again. Not because, well, I hope it has some value down the road, but you just like going to a manual to work that new appliance you just bought. You just know it's going to guide you. That leap of faith in the beginning, there is that leap of faith. There is that choice you have to make. But what is nice about this philosophy is not only is there resonance there when you choose it. I don't know anyone that's read through Vedanta treatise and been like, nope, I don't get it. The resonance is there because it aligns with the voice in our heads. But what's better than faith, like I said, is on the other side of opening that door, pursuing a path that is not well traveled by those around us. What is nice is on the other side. So you just start to see it work, and that faith turns into knowing. Turns into your favorite dish, and one that you get to enjoy every day. When you have that touchstone in the early morning hours, that stillness, that study and reflection. That cynicism might be easy, but it is not fulfilling. Knowledge, that is fulfilling. And that is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.